This is Ken Pyle with Parks Associates Connections Conference at CTIA, and we're with Kevin McGinnis of Sprint. Kevin, you're going to be on a panel talking about connected home, and most times when you think about connected homes, you think of the wire from wherever it is to the home. But you're looking at Sprint about wireless as options to connect to the home, I suppose.
Absolutely. So, our primary strategy is wireless at this point in time. We don't have last mile connections to the home any longer. So for us, it's about displacing cords. And so we have a strategy that basically we are going after cord cutters, people who've had cord services that are trying to get rid of those to reduce their bill, or cord nevers, which is an emerging segment of users. I have 3 teenage daughters. They will never know a cord probably in their life. We also have the opportunity to be an over-the-top service provider. So take some of our core services, whether they're communication, entertainment, or other types of managed services that we might have back in our network, and take those over the top of someone else's wired last mile.
And so the kind of connected home things you're talking about are probably the same things everyone else is talking about at this conference in terms of energy management and home security, that sort of thing?
Yeah, a variety of solutions. We have our machine-to-machine business, which is connected devices, which range from any type of home management system, home security system, any type of energy management, as you mentioned, those types of things. And then we also have service platforms that we run that my group is primarily responsible for, related to kind of core services that we might want to enter into that space. Again, these core communication services that a family might use, different types of data services that they might use, or entertainment services.
Well, let's focus a little bit on your group then, because you mentioned something earlier about over the top with your services. Why don't you explain what you meant by that?
Sure. We don't typically have the last mile connection unless it is a pure wired connection. So a lot of the times, the service side of the business, we view ourselves the same way that a service provider like a Netflix or a Hulu might look at the world, and they ride over the top of someone else's network, and they just provide a compelling customer experience from an application or a service perspective.
Yeah, so in that scenario, it could be over the cable connection, a DSL connection, whatever it might be.
Exactly. Or over a fixed wireless connection that we might offer through our LTE or any of our 3G services.
Mm-hmm. And so from the services offered, you actually have a video service and these other services as Sprint branded services, or?
We do, so I would look at that in 2 ways. We do have Sprint branded services. So today we offer Sprint TV on our mobile devices. So the ability to extend something like that into the home is a possibility. We also have all of our brand is associated, whether it's our postpaid Sprint brand or our prepaid brands, Boost and Virgin, that have communication services, whether it's text messaging, voice messaging, and a kind of MMS service and so on, that we could extend in the home. We have products like Sprint Family Locator, so you could use those via another screen inside the home. So those are kind of all the over-the-top services that you might see us, or branded services. We also have a pretty robust partner ecosystem in the entertainment and content space. So the opportunity for us to bring some of those partner bundles together. We have a unique billing relationship with the consumer, in that a lot of consumers, especially in this emerging segment where people are using alternative services, where they're a little bit probably more youth-centric, they look at us as someone who kind of aggregates those services, and with the billing relationship, sometimes we're their first utility bill. Okay. The wireless phone is the first thing that a lot of these younger consumers really understand is the first bill they're responsible for paying.
At the same time, though, it seems like one of the things that Sprint has done a very good job of is really focusing on partners, and you're not stuck on just being that brand, have to be in front of the customer. You're willing to work in the background, it seems.
Absolutely. So we've been the challenger brand for a couple of years. We don't necessarily have the resources that one of our larger competitors might be able to bring to bear against this. We also feel like there's a certain openness. Why would you force the customer to use a product that they don't use in their everyday lives? Make it easier for them, enable them to be able to make choice, and be able to use the services that they might already be using on another platform, they might already be using in another way, shape, or form. Make it easier for them, whether it's ease of integration, whether it's some type of onboarding that makes it easier for the customer to get access or use those services.
It seems like, again, from my outside perspective, that you whether it's the access part of it through your LTE network, or whether it's the services part of it, working with these partners, you're willing to kind of allow them to take what they need?
Absolutely. Our kind kind of the saying that my group kind of walks into most partnerships with is, participate where you add value. So don't force some type of revenue share or some type of onerous partnership agreement. These need to be win-win scenarios. At the end of the day, we don't want to put our partners in a situation where their businesses can't thrive. We want to make sure that we're profitable in terms of all the service offerings that we provide to our consumers. So it's really important you find those win-win collaborative kind of relationships and partnerships.
Well, and this is a question, it may not be the right question, it probably could be much more nuanced than this, but getting back to when you're in this wireless situation and you've got these connected home applications, would is an LTE network enough as far as bandwidth?
I think from a speeds perspective, it is. You see, the ability to bring video into play. You see the ability to bring multiple data sessions or multiple data applications into play at the same time. I think the issue is how do you best manage the experience between multiple networks that might be available. Wi-Fi is fairly ubiquitous in the United States today, so being able to leverage that network or that experience for end users, they understand that. Most consumers, when they come home, they typically have even their mobile devices or their tablets, they have them set up on Wi-Fi already, so there's no reason a lot of these applications can't run the same way.
Now, what about the cord nevers, though, who, a lot of bandwidth usage, and will wireless support that kind of constant downloading and uploading and so forth?
Yeah, I think the download is fine. Uploading on a network like this is a little bit more of an opportunity, I think, for us to figure it out. But certainly, I think with LTE speeds, regardless of which spectrum resource that you're using, you have the ability to offer services to the user in the way that we're talking about. Most of the connected devices that we have, when it comes to things like home management, energy monitoring, those types of things, they don't require a lot of bandwidth. Those aren't bandwidth-intensive applications. A lot of those run on 2G networks today, so they don't require big pipes. They don't require always-on type of situations. They ping the network when they need to, and they typically are sending bits and bytes versus huge file sizes.
And I'd imagine there's some benefits to being wireless in those kind of situations, as far as just you don't have to hook up wires, right?
That's right. Installation's much easier. The management of those things, putting things where you want them versus having to have them fixed into a wall or fixed into some outlet. Those are obviously the benefits of wireless. Those types of things have been something we've been familiar with from a mobility perspective for some time.
What I imagine, though, in a home, a connected home situation, you probably end up at a gateway point, and then from there use some sort of standard networking to get to the devices, right?
Absolutely. Gateways provide a lot of benefits, not just in the ability to provide a hub that you can easily connect devices to, but it also provides you the ability to create integrated experiences and be able to have some central point for data management, subscriber identification, those types of situations as well, or device identification.
Now, I'm kind of jumping around here, but getting back to the video aspect of it, with the video that you're delivering, are you seeing that, and do you have the rights to bring it to, say, connected TVs? Does that work relative to other agreements the content providers might have with, say, a franchise cable operator?
Content agreements are all different depending on what network it runs on, who the content provider is, what the status of the service delivery company is, whether they're someone who's industry classifications of somebody that's typically called an MVPD that owns a network and operates a network versus an OVPD who doesn't and just has to go out and acquire the content. So all of those filters get applied to content agreements. We have good content relationships, and we think kind of the content world is kind of converging into this pay once, have access anywhere type of equation. So I think it's just a matter of time before most of the content providers kind of evolve into that scenario. I think you're seeing a lot of them, whether it's with companies like Netflix or Hulu or Roku or Boxy, any of those alternative providers from a hardware or a service provider perspective, you're starting to see them explore new ways, new business models in order to provide that content.
Well, it's super. It sounds like there's still a lot of opportunity for everyone, for Sprint and for others. So.
Absolutely, we're excited about the space. We think it's an opportunity for us to extend a unique experience for our customers, whether it's under our brand or whether it's partnering with others to deliver service with connected devices that might ride on somebody else's brand. But it's an exciting space, and we're anxious to see it continue to evolve.
Well, Kevin, I appreciate your time.
Thanks, Ken. Appreciate it.